But Blue Thunder Bomb tweets out, and this is in regards to GCW and WWE teaming up here. Charlie Dempsey will be at Bloodsport. And this guy, Blue Thunder Bomb, says, at this point, this is just WWE Underground, lads. Jesus Christ. And then Josh Barnett goes, Jesus Christ, you're an absolute idiot. So Barnett just destroys a sicko. I thought that was funny. So this gentleman here, right, we hear the news that Saraya is going to jump ship again, or not even jump ship. That's the problem. But you're not allowed to leave AEW. You can't leave the cult, or you're shamed, you're hated on, you're exiled, people attack you, etc. This is what happens in real life cults. Anybody seen the Netflix documentaries? I mean, wherever you consume documentaries, there's always cult action going on because there's a lot of stupid people and a lot of, people who I guess are capable of waning others out into the forest and stuff like that. I don't know, but with AEW, it's extremely cultish. We love you and accept and embrace you, and then the second you leave it, we hate you, you're despicable, etc., etc. So here's a gentleman who's like, another Fed, in regards to Paige, right? Saraya says, another Fed talent who came to AEW realized she's past her prime and can no longer keep up with the industry's top roster and is now ready to politic her way back to the Fed so she can coast on easy mode wrestling, then secure a Legends deal. Cool. Bye. It's funny because she was coasting in AEW. She wrestled part-time, part of the part-time, So, I don't understand. And then Neckbeard just pulls his card. He's like, you loved Saraya in January. What changed? And maybe this guy's mind did change, right? We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But, it's him responding at the time. He's like, take your time off and enjoy your life and family, Saraya. The fans miss you, but we'll see you soon. Also, there's the rookie named Tony, like Tony Storm, who's pretty all right, but she could use an ass whopping. So like he loves Saraya and then she leaves. And, so just documenting the cult-like behavior. This isn't an attack. Nobody go clown that guy. Just ignore him, right? So again, Neckbeard's pulling cards on Jeff Cobb. People, Grumpy Omega. Of course, this guy loves Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb made the right call just like Kenny did. When Jeff Cobb's like, WWE offered me a contract, great money. At the end of the day, money is going to make a lot of your problems go away. At the end of the day, money won't make you happy. And so this is before. So the rumor is now Jeff Cobb is signed with WWE, or he is headed there. He's basically worked it out, or he's agreed, or whatever. Maybe that's a lie. Who knows? But Grumpy Omega's like, Jeff Cobb made the right call, just like Kenny did. So he loves Jeff Cobb. Right? Open challenge. Who will it be? Jeff Cobb. Well, he's just responding. Where's Jeff Cobb? So this guy wants Jeff Cobb. Right? It would be poetic justice to make him face Jeff Cobb next. So this guy, poetic justice, Jeff Cobb. And then all of a sudden, right? Grumpy Omega. Start the clock on this dork getting himself suspended a third time. Literally, we're looking at it, guys, in real time. Okay? That's what the sicko segment's for. You guys see this? None of these accounts do you ever take seriously. Complete clown shoes. Speaking of not being able to be taken seriously, the Alpachian podcast tweeted this out. When suburbanites leave the cul-de-sac. Now, when I saw this, I was like, is this a backyard wrestling Fed promo? That's what I think it is. Some people are like, these guys are being dead serious. Like they're trying to act gangster and stuff. I was like, oh, I thought this was for some mud show. You guys tell me in the chat, okay? I don't know. But check this out. It's so cringe. If they're being serious, it's even cringier. And if it is for a wrestling vignette, it is cringiest already. But if they're just like actually doing this, thinking they look cool, incredibly cringe. But either way, shout these guys out.
Let me tell you a little something about my family. I come from a very, very long line of family.
Like your boy Phil's sitting there going, this is clearly a pro wrestling promo. They're like, no, they're serious.
And my mom always...
And the dude in the back, like, come on, that's clearly the Easter egg, right? They're studying the Fed. Okay.
Homie, you never want to be the nail. Never that. You want to be the hammer. The hammer. Because once you become the hammer, then you become unstoppable. Stop, baby. And that's where I got all these hammers. Right from my bloodline.
Right for my bloodline.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't understand. Like, what are they doing? So that's not them pretending to be pro wrestlers. You're like typical Appalachian. What are you guys trying to correct me for? Appalachian? How'd I say it? Appalachian? I don't know, dude. Listen, okay? These guys are lit, and in no time they'll be in Mustafa Ali's crew too, okay? I sure. Moving along. I'll make a deal. Okay, so here is this goober, Cancel Unleashed. So these people write an article. They're like, man, baby, Brad Shepard like gets owned by a wrestler, and then he's like, I'm gonna sue you, right? Cancel Unleashed. I'm the canceled Unleashed guy, and he's gonna sue people over making funny headlines. This is the guy who made Zelina Vega dad 9/11 jokes, put the pieces together, thinking he's and also, mind you, like 20 years after 9/11. By the way, making the same type of like, yeah, Pete Davidson made that joke 12 years ago, you know, and his dad passed away in 9/11. Then you're saying that about someone like maliciously. This is this guy who's suing Body Slam for their funny, you know, you guys know bodyslam.net. They make the funny headlines about people, right? Yeah, this guy's like formal legal notice, demand of immediate removal of my name from libelous and defamatory article. So like, is someone posting a screen grab or is this a tweet? And if this was a DM, no, this looks like, did he tweet this out? What the man? So he's like, Dear Cassidy and Nick, I'm writing to formally demand the immediate removal. Oh, this is what it is. The article titled WWE NXT star Jordan Grace claps back at perennial pear-shaped douchebag Brad Shepard. And he's suing them, bro. Suing them.
Emotional damage.
Canceled and unleashed. Published whatever, blah, blah. The article contains false, misleading, and defamatory statements about me, which have caused harm to my personal and professional reputation. Specifically, the following statements in the article: Shepard and Company for the blissfully uninitiated are the opposite of anything good. Right, but that's all subjective, right? So if it's an op-ed, Brad, then yeah, what are you even talking about? Cancel Unleashed. Can't take a joke. Crazy. But yeah, they were like, I'll make a deal. You fight Seahawk and we will take it down. Seems fair. Cameron Hawkins is the guy who writes for like Yahoo, like Ariel Helwani's Pro Wrestling. I think they have like a website or something too. I'm not sure. I just watched the show. But yeah, I think he's on like Ariel Helwani's team or whatever. So they want to like set up a boxing match or something. They had a whole spaces about it. I don't know. It's cringe and funny. Perfect sicko segment stuff. We're gonna circle back to that gal there who, you know, got a little crazy. I know you guys saw it. It went viral as shit. So Sidgwick, okay, king, one of the king sickos here, like not on the list or anything, but just a sicko, right? Sidgwicko says, Sidge Sicko, right? Says the hideously fake and unearned facial expressions here are nightmarish. I can't get over how much I hate this spiritually. So they're saying like Triple H is still bitter over Will Ospreay, and because this guy loves Will Ospreay, like equally to or greater than Dave Meltzer. The hideously fake and unearned facial expressions here are nightmarish. I can't get over how much I hate this spiritually. Like, who the f are you? And yeah, he's mad at this, but then someone pulls his card. Someone's like, bro, you hopefully I have it bookmarked. Oh, yeah. And then someone dropped this, and yet here's him saying the expression on Billy Starks when Mercedes used her experience to catch her with the crucifix. Awesome. Shock. Dismay, naivety, working to the age of her character. Loved that finish. Absolutely craziness, man.
I don't know.
It's just the pomposity of it, and then to go and say Billy Starks' facials, and then he like attributes it working to the age of her character. And it's like, what, being green? What, you mean like not being as good as these vets down here that you were talking shit just because it's WWE? And someone said Will Ospreay and your brain went, oh, what? Craziness, man. So, someone posted this. So FTR Follow the Revolution. I don't know. We've never
just made the list.
We've never said officially, you know. The guy posts like he puts out like press statements for AEW. He doesn't work there or anything, right? And he writes like love letters to some of these guys. And like he posted this. And he's like, attending AEW shows has many perks, but one thing that stands out is discussing AEW with some incredibly knowledgeable young fans. I'm honored to call them my friends, fellow sickos. So he's like scoping out the kids and he's like, hey, can I take a picture with you, my fellow sicko? Like, what's going on here, bro? What the? And then, yeah, this guy's like, nah, but if Blood was a WWE guy, they'd be calling him and the fans P3Dios. Yeah. Obviously, but I don't know. Like, I hope their parents aren't far away, but yeah, I'm not saying nothing, right? But I mean, the optics, boys, my fellow sickos, don't go up to children and call them sickos, okay? I implore everyone in this chat, do not do that. So Samantha Irvin tied it up with a sicko. She got into it with a sicko, and then she cringed me out, like almost out of my skin with something she had to say. So this guy, I thought it was funny. I originally bookmarked it because I read this tweet she's responding to, and this random dude's like, I'm sure, kid, sometimes it's funny because people don't know who they are actually talking to. So he's implying what? He's like a billionaire on a burner, or he's Ric Flair on a burner, and she should be listening to him or something. I don't know. But Samantha Irvin is like, apparently this is somebody burner, y'all. Wow, I hope it's a Hall of Famer, right? So then I click on it and I read. So Calix, Jessica Carr, we covered this on the show. She made her Evolve debut. She was okay. Green as shit, though. Her match was not the best. Oh, did I get blocked? Oh, Samantha blocked me. Oh, shit. She blocked me. God damn it. Because of the tweet I made about this. And I screen grabbed it too, as to not be a dick. So someone tagged her. She vanity searched or something. Got blocked by Samantha Irvin. It's unfortunate. I mean, I've stuck up for her when a lot of people are like, oh, she's just going to go to wherever. And I'm like, well, yeah, what else are you going to do? You know, she doubled down. I am critical. Right? She thinks she's going to make it in the singing. Like, she had that door open and she ran through it and it didn't work out. America's Got Talent and all that. And now you had this other door and you and Ricochet are going to go off and you just want to like make a shitload of money and like make songs, and she wants to be a manager and all that shit. That's great. That's amazing. And AEW will let you do that. I think they came in the wrong time where Tony's not actually going to let them do that. And, I don't know. Here's more of Samantha's, like, does she have main character syndrome? Like, we had covered that on the show multiple times. So, okay, she blocked me as of like yesterday or today or something. Okay, guys. So live here at PWT. But shout her out. I'm not a hater and I'm not upset. You know, I'm gonna still support. I just want her to come back to WWE and ring announce, you know what I'm saying? So but as a fan, but as her doing her own life, again, no one is here to explain to her or tell her what her life path is or should be, right? Like, that's nobody's job to do that. And I'll always maintain that. So anyways, so this guy goes, wait, she can do this, but Samantha Irvin couldn't be a manager. No, it's not that. It's because she gets to go be with her husband. And then what it is like Tony Khan has all these other entertainment world connects as well. And you guys, Samantha wants to get in the ring and do all this shit. They just didn't see that for her. Like, period, point blank, you know, or she wants to manage. She thinks she can book and stuff. Well, we're about to read. Jessica Carr is allowed to do this Evolve shit, and she didn't look good at all. I'm going to be honest. And the fact it's leaked, and I'm not trying to trash Jessica Carr. You guys know I put Jessica Carr over. She's a great referee. Watch me get blocked here too. But all I'm saying is, like, it was so clunky and bad. And the girls she was working against were really good, but they were It was just clunky on like this Calix and her partner's end, right? So they shouldn't have done this, and I'll criticize it as I mean, I don't think they should have did this with Jessica Carr, just my opinion. And I bet Samantha Irvin could have wrestled, but they wanted her to go down and start down here. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to skip the line and just be on TV as a manager, as a character right away, main roster. So that's the difference here as well. Jessica Carr is like, yes, I want this bad enough. I will go do Evolve, wear a mask. You know what I mean? And start from zero and work my way again. Samantha does not want to do that. She tried out as a wrestler. They didn't want her in that role. They found the perfect role for her. She didn't want to be in that role. Okay, then don't do that role. Go to AEW, try your best. And maybe her and Ricochet cook. Like, I'm going to check if Ricochet blocked me too. Because you guys know I've been putting over the Ricochet stuff as well. So I'm actually going to check and let's see if it was a couples blocking, right? A couples blocking. Wouldn't that be cute? Let me see. Let's scroll down. No, Ricochet still has not blocked me. So that's cool. It wasn't a couples thing. They don't run to each other and like block this guy, you know, which would be okay if they did, by the way. Let's continue. So this guy says, bro, she don't know what she wants. She said she wanted to wrestle, then said she never said that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's true. And wanted to be a manager, yes. And now recently she said she wants to be a booker. And then Samantha Irvin's like, never said I wanted to wrestle. I said I wanted to manage. And Michael Hayes said I could be a good booker. Michael Hayes said I'd be a good booker. And I wasn't trying to be shitty, but
You what?
I've screen grabbed it too because I want the whole conversation so it's in context. So nobody thought I was just like ripping on Samantha. I was like, if she's serious, I'm cringing out of my skin. I was like, because he's just being nice. Clearly, like if Michael P.S. Hayes ever said to Samantha Irvin, oh, you'd make a great booker, doll, he's Joe. How would they know? You don't. Here's the thing with booking, guys. You don't know till you do it, till you jump in, put your feet in the fire and do the goddamn thing. You do not know if you'd be a good booker. I don't care how many video games. I don't care if you wrote shit down. I don't care if you spitball your creative ideas over a cocktail. To Michael P.S. Hayes, he was being nice to you. Period, dude. He was just being nice. And I'm sorry if that offends. I'm sorry if that's not what you want to hear. I'm sorry that you had to block me over that. I don't hate you. Michael Hayes said I could be a good booker. Whoa, dude. That's like your ex saying it's the biggest she's ever seen. Am I right, ladies? No? Where's my but-umts, right? I got jokes too. Even though we're cringing here a little bit, I got jokes. So Obi-Wan goes, yet didn't want to put. So this is where it's like, no, I like don't start trashing her work ethic and shit. You don't know that, right? So here's where I'd defend Samantha and she'd be like, word, thanks for having my back. But because my tweet was about you are cringy, if you think Michael Hayes was serious and wasn't like, yeah, Toots, you could you definitely be a great book. You can do anything, you know. But anyways, didn't want to put the work in. Everyone before had to put in. Paul Heyman was treated like shit by the WWE for years before they let off him. Everyone there now had to endure Vince for decades before getting a shot. And then she's like, bro, you will never know more about the company or the business than I do. Yeah, I agree with Samantha. And you'll never put in as much effort and work as I have. And you'll never learn what I'm currently learning. I'll be back and you'll still be tweeting about it. Yeah, I think her and Ricochet together in AEW could be like a really good heel, and they should pull the trigger on that. But yeah, I'm sure, kids, sometimes it's funny because people don't know who they're actually talking to. So who is this? So she's name dropping Michael Hayes. Like, who's this over here? Right? This is Dutch Mantel's burner. Like, what is this? You know? So yeah, sicko wars with the wrestlers, man. They're starting to pipe up more on these sickos. It is what it is, you know? So Joey Janela and JD, they go at it some more. Yeah, here's my tweet, actually. Sorry. So I go, Michael Hayes was just being nice. There's no way to determine that she thought he was serious. Not even trying to be a dick, but unless she's being sarcastic here, this is cringing me out of my skin. So she blocked me. She wasn't being sarcastic.
Be gone.
Chat. Oh no. you know, the Moxley Spike bat spot. This guy's like, AEW is still trending past. This is the FTR Follow the Revolution guy, right? AEW is still trending past 7 this morning. This is why I feel the reason why they did it was to fuel the flames and set the internet on fire. It could be good or bad, but my brother said it best. It's getting the eyes on the product, even if it's something in poor taste that people will still talk about for a while. What an idiot, man. This is that guy taking pictures with people's kids, calling them sickos in front of the AEW shows. Right? So wrestlers getting into more sicko wars, right? We have Taya Valkyrie getting into it with some of these sickos. So AO Productions is like, yo, what he's saying, basically every promotion she's wrestled at. He's saying like Taya's wrestled in every promotion in the world almost that's like prominent right now. And then Taya quote tweets this and says, I'm a record-holding former world champion in not one but 2 companies. I'm exhausted having to educate everyone on the fact I've literally worked everywhere and accomplished things that nobody has, but here we are. Well, let your work talk. Ignore these people. But yeah, Taya is a legend where she's on that AEW shit, and it's like good. Her and Johnny TV, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Elite, they deserve that, right? Like those are guys where, okay, they're just down to hang it. It's not like we're clamoring for them to get these huge pushes and they're not in a stage of their career where they can't just like help get other people over and stuff like that. You know, they booked Johnny TV against Big Boom AJ. It's like, all right, that's who he was on Survivor or whatever, right? Like that's who you book it against. That makes sense. But this huge glittery goof, it's a great name though, says, here we go again. Another wrestler crying on X because nobody's don't know who you are. That's your legacy. Meanwhile, you're cashing daddy's checks. What is her dad rich or something? Prancing around like a Temu Gwen Stefani. How is it Temu Gwen? Maybe her hairstyle and her makeup? On ROH's rotting corpse. Total joke, sad. Yeah, just a sicko. And then she's like, Temu Gwen Stefani, oh my God, thank you. Ha ha ha. Now you got a reaction. Crawl back in your hole and disappear until I feel like making your day again. Someone come get your child. He's acting out again. Yeah, some people's kids, man. I don't know, just a little jousting, but ROH's rotting corpse. Just goes savage. Yeah, but why is it tap dancing, right? I mean, this is the kind of person. It's like, what do you do with Taya? Push her and Johnny Mundo like at this stage in their careers? I don't know. Like to me, that seems like they're at the point where they just need to make their money and chill. But yeah, this guy's like, oh look, someone's bored. I guess nobody's paying you to actually wrestle. You've got to find something to do. Might as well pretend you're relevant. And then Ty is like, someone come get your man. Oh wait, you're eating Cheetos in your grandmother's basement alone. Okay, bye. Done doing charity for today. It's always Cheeto finger mother's basements. What did anybody's mother's basements do to anybody? So Ringside News has another, Steve Carrier has another sicko meltdown, right? And he's like, let's stop the pretending. No married guy travels from Chicago to Florida on his day off just to play daddy. Or does he? And this is he's referring to Cora Jade and CM Punk. Okay, so we have more of that as we go along here. So there will be more of that. You guys will see. But either way, this Rockarito guy is like, WWE deserves everything wrong happening to them. It's like, what wrong is happening to them? You people are nuts. Rob Van Dam, though, speaking of wrestlers mixing it up with sickos, Rob Van Dam starts just owning all of these AEW sickos. Someone in chat's like, you did RVD dirty on the thumbnail. Hey, he made the face, not me. I googled Rob Van Dam funny, and that's what came up. Shout out Shawn. Rob Van Dam did the Shawn Michaels impression, not me, bro. This guy, so RVD basically what he said, and we'll cover it later in the show. But he talked about how he's like, I wouldn't want to associate with AEW when they do this spiked bat bullshit. And people are like, but you were in ECW. You were, one of those dudes who is extreme and blah, 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 blah. How could you say that? How dare you say that? You're a washed up old guy. And again, too, people don't keep the same energy with Rob where it's like, okay, he got to wrestle while he had a deal with WWE, a Legends deal. They still let him wrestle in AEW or wherever he wants to, and nobody had a problem. They're all going back to when Luger couldn't be on their pay-per-view. you know, with Sting. It's like, well, yeah, because that's going to get a bunch of views. Like, what the? But this guy's like, explain this, right? RVD. And then he's like, I think I've done that a couple times now. So if you still don't understand, I can't help you. I was not a fan of Janice or Abyss murdering me. That was not wrestling. Does that help you out or not? So even when people are bringing up like, oh, well, you did shit with Abyss. Look at this spot. You wrestled Abyss with Janice in a spiked bat. And RVD's like, yeah, I had a job to do. A. B. It didn't impale him either. Look, those are little tiny nails. Okay. And then he hits him in the torso. Look, where he feeds it to him. It's not like that's why I brought up on my show, which no other people are smart enough to do. Right? This is all just magic and circus tricks. You go to the circus, the guy lays out the bed of nails. He drops the watermelon on the bed of nails. It explodes. And you're like, oh. And then he doesn't do a back body drop on the nails because they'll penetrate him and he'll rip to shreds. He lays down and distributes his weight in like an even manner, in a way where he can tolerate even more weight on top of him. So that's what Moxley did. What they did was completely just fake hit him in the stomach with the nails, you know? And he's wearing a shirt. It's not the same as being propelled like about 6 feet, I don't know if tall edges, in the air, and then landing, splatting a back, and then you stand up and the shit's an inch in your skin, and it looks like a troll hit you in the back with a spike mace, right? There's a big difference there. So, and again, my biggest thing is like, it's the same day they dropped the Rizzler plush. So like, let's just say, oh, the Rizzler plush, buy one now today. And then let's say kids tune in for the first time that are Rizzler fans, right? And then they see that. That's all I'm thinking about. Like, you have to pick and choose that should just be a pay-per-view spot if you're going to do that. And someone should be smart enough to go, have you ever seen the watermelon fall on the nail of beds? Or on the bed of nails, nail of beds. That sounds like it'd be extra comfy. No, nailing on a bed, is that nailing beds? Is that your name, or is that like what you do? Oh, this guy goes, but how can you be so critical of one spot? It's not done all the time. And I agree with that. I explain that underneath. I respond to this fool here, but this guy's responding to RVD. He's like, that spot that Moxley did was a one-off for that particular kind of carnage. Outside of the typical deathmatch or street fight, come on, dude. WWE is brainwashed that their style is the only way. It's not. God damn it. So I was just like, dude, car crashes don't happen all the time either. We all stop and look, but it's morbid and cringe, and you don't want your children seeing it. If he chopped his arm off, it wouldn't have been done before either. But sorry, the masses don't want to see torture corn. But I said you by accident there. Typo. Editing film. And then I'm like, I don't know why you sickos don't get that you're wacky and think everyone else is brainwashed. We aren't, bro. It's y'all. You are a group of don't be that guy guys. Don't be that guy, guys. But you guys, you know what I mean? The sickos don't get it. Like, you remember the old joke, don't be that guy. It's all don't be that guy, guys. RVD responds and says, the WWE brainwashing that you're referring to produces the style that draws the biggest crowds. And again, now what? Is RVD an old podcasting grifter? Is he an old 90s podcasting grifter who doesn't study the business, bro? RVD is Van Damme's wet dream. RVD is Van Damme's. RVD is Dave Meltzer's wet dream, rather. Okay? So, no, bro. Like, especially in his prime. So, it's not grifting. Look at all the greats, all the goats from prior years before. They understand that the whole purpose of what they're doing is to draw a goddamn crowd, because that's what wrestling is at the end of the day. That's literally, especially pro wrestling, okay? The art of pro wrestling. You mean you want to watch NCAA amateur wrestling then? If you want the art of if you want the art of the entertainment side, which is where it became pro wrestling, where the two split off. Pro wrestling became pro wrestling because the pro catch wrestlers were like, we got to make more money and get crazy and more. How do we do that? We work shit. We get heat, heel baby face. We figure out how to become more flamboyant, do crazier shit. We need to draw more and more and more money. And that's why amateur wrestling stayed what it was, and it's still called amateurs, even though that's the legit style. The pro shit, the pros, where it's split off, where the delineation happened, okay, and you get the timeline split in wrestling, is where the entertainment aspect came into it, and just we have to draw crowds, period. Okay, so that's what pro wrestling is at its core. AEW, WWE, if you're trying to do a weekly TV show, pro wrestling, I'm sorry, it's about drawing crowds and selling tickets and getting heat. It's what it is about. Now, does it have to be drawing the biggest crowds? No, you can do studio wrestling, all that shit. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they were trying to draw TV ratings, draw massive houses. You're trying to make money. That was the whole purpose of, we need to get flamboyant with this shit, was we make more money if we get flamboyant with this shit. I promise you, just trace it back. You cannot prove that wrong. That's where the money aspect comes in. When they decided we need to get flamboyant. Okay, so now if you're like, oh, Will Ospreay does these flamboyant flips and I love that. Okay, great. What's drawing the most money? Because the reason he does that is the purpose of doing that isn't to just wreck your body and not draw money. The whole purpose of it, they realized we can fight more if we work the fights. Instead of pulling a real shoot guy out of the crowd and stretching him and getting cuts and fighting each other for real, oh, we can do this every night of the week, sometimes twice a day. And the toll on our body's real, but it's not like we're cutting, and it's not like we're, like actually shooting and destroying. Like, we can draw more money this way. They figured it out, man. And that's where the pro element, or the pro wrestling element, comes into it. So if you like the flamboyancy and all that, and the art expression, then that's about drawing money. That's how they determine what the best shit was throughout the history, until all of a sudden the internet, when Jericho's responding back to reviews of his matches online and shit. That's what wrestling up right there. The curtain call, all that, Anyways, though, Van Dam gets it. People get it. So AEW WWE movie fan says, you had your day in the sun. Cool. I don't think we should be listening to old heads trying to say what they think isn't wrestling. There's a very different perspective when you actually are a deathmatch wrestler. I hate the old head thing too. People hijack that. No, bro. Van Dam's not an old head, bro. He's still very much in touch. He still understands. He was ahead of the curve on a lot of things in his time, in his style, in his way of thinking about the world, right? So, yeah, I just don't know what you're he's not an old head, right? And he goes, this makes sense. It should be you that gets asked the question in an interview, not me. Who the f am I? Right? Like, everybody does Van Dam shit. And he's telling you got to draw money, bro. So I don't know what these people, where they get off. Bjorn Scarpoxy says, I just have a hard time believing that Moxley has that much creative control. And then Van Dam's like, isn't that what AEW is about? Exactly. The guys are allowed to be themselves and all that. Isn't that what AEW, wasn't that the big selling point? And Van Dam's like, that was my understanding since day one, was that it's run by the boys, and it certainly comes across that way. He wrestled there. What, are you going to challenge Van Dam, who's been in every locker room? What is wrong with these people? Van Dam has to school these guys. We'll get into it later too, the clip of him talking about it, but like, just bonkers. So speaking of Joey Janela, well, let's stick with Van Dam here, and then we're going to circle back. We have our main event sicko coming up, but this guy, Mark McConaughey. So the real RVD says that Jon Moxley's spike spot was not wrestling to him. Meanwhile, back in TNA in the year 2010, he did a spot with Janice, blah, 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 blah. Just the same fish-brained, and he even says it. That wasn't wrestling, and I didn't like it. So Van Dam's like, are you saying I love this? It was my idea, or just that I did it? Someone who was wrestling wrote this, and someone who wasn't wrestling, rather, wrote this, and I always said it was stupid. Okay, what do you have now? Do you think Moxley did what he was told, or it was his idea and he loved it? When fans remind me how stupid they are, it makes me want to be a heel. But I ridiculous point. I think he meant to say, what a ridiculous point. Let's see. So this guy here, RVD, I respect you for your wrestling career, but saying you don't like the Jon Moxley spike spot is laughable for someone who was working for ECW. Was that wrestling back then? The violence things that you do and others did, Barbara. These people don't have like proper grammar or punctuation. Flaming tables, a Tai-Pi death match still got DVD. And then Van Dam's like, some fans on here are another level of ignorant. 1, concussions are a part of my past, not my present or my future, no matter how much You don't know. 2, I've always said that the Abyss spot when he murdered me with Janice was stupid. I've always said back in ECW, the garbage matches took the place of wrestling because they didn't have wrestling in them. 3, do you think a writer gave Moxley that spot and he thought it was stupid? I don't. Boom! Boom! Me neither. I think you idiots are stupid, especially fans calling me a hypocrite when I'm as consistent as it comes. Boom. When you're consistent, bro, people just can't call you on the shit. I didn't have barbed wire matches. I never bladed in ECW. Y'all are ridiculous for not being able to tell the difference. For real, though, the most extreme shit Van Dam did. He was there when people were getting caned, but he was just kicking people in the head and shit. He's done like the Van Terminator, like with the chair, which you could easily cover with your hands and head and shit. And he would do table spots now and again. You'd see him. Otherwise, he would like slam you on the barricade, flip off the apron. He didn't get all gruesome and gory and hardcore. And even then, he didn't do that. Why? Because, and that was the beauty of ECW, is that you were able to see all different kinds of wrestling, you know, Van Damme style, which would sort of become the future style, or luchadors, or the Benoit Malenko style, or you got the bloody hardcore Raven Dreamers storytelling, chop each other up. And here's the thing too, if you're going to chop each other up like mozzarella, you can do that, but tell a story, dude. Matt Tremont, Atrocity Cruel, bro. Look those guys up. Like, tell a story. Give me something to sink my teeth into, and then, okay, let's see it. So, yeah, Van Dam, obviously one of the GOATs. I'm going to check in with chat here in a sec. No worries. But Van Dam says, he responds to Henry N39, who goes, they draw a bigger crowd because they've been around longer and more people know about them. That doesn't mean they make a better product. Okay, more people know about TNA and been around, and TNA's been around longer than AEW. TNA's number 2 then. Boom. Sicko owns you with your own logic. Your own inconsistency in logic.
Shut up, bitch!
Because I guarantee you will flip that defense, or I guarantee he would say that TNA is not as big as AEW. Okay? And I would agree, like objectively, like how much money they're willing to sink or the houses they've drawn in the short period of time, for sure. But TNA is more well-known than AEW. If you go up to people and say TNA wrestling, they know what that is more than if I were to say AEW. People would be like, what? A&E? A and I'm not hungry, bitch. A and W. I'm telling you the truth. Go up to people and be like AEW or TNA wrestling. You know, you remember TNA wrestlings like AJ Styles? People know what that is, okay? People do. Anyways, though, people remember ECW and shit like that. Either way, though, Van Dam's like, better is subjective, silly. Boom. Owned him. Well, what's better? How do we quantify? Okay. Do you want to try and quantify what makes it better? Well, I think the purpose of pro wrestling is drawing the biggest crowds, obviously being entertaining, but you're not going to draw, like, for people who are like, is Taylor Swift the best singer? No, but she's entertaining and people are drawn to her and shit. Have you been to a Taylor Swift concert? I have, bro. Like, the stage is flying around the air and shit. She's like dancing in the sky and shit. Like, it's a fun time, bro. It's an entertaining show. Like, whatever it is, whoever's behind her, whatever, it's the machine. It doesn't matter. There's still, I'm just going to say a random wrestler that comes to mind from 2013 era. Like, who's like Darren Young, and he's great. Fred Rosser, right? He's awesome in Japan and shit. But let's say they took Darren Young and just plugged him in and tried to make him John Cena or The Rock or whatever. Would it work? No, it doesn't work that way. There's still like that it factor, dude. Yes, WWE's the best at cultivating, developing, and like creating stars and shit like that as well. So we can't just sit there and be like, how do you quantify it? WWE's investing in the future of pro wrestling. They create the biggest stars. They have the biggest stars. They go global. Tony Khan has the resources to do as such. He brags about being global in Australia and all this shit. So don't front, like, or unless he's capping, then go and tell him he's a liar, because that's what he says and pushes out there, that narrative. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about the whole idea behind Tony Khan was like, well, they have equal resources and they own NFL teams and shit. So they're no slouches. They can actually go toe to toe. So now it's like, well, they're the challenger number 2. I mean, they're like, by that logic now that you guys are using, TNA number 2 over AEW. And if people want to quantify, how do we measure what the better show is? Hotter crowds, WWE hands down. Bigger attendances, WWE. The wrestling, I think, is better at the highest levels of WWE. Now, if you're watching Evolve and NXT and shit, okay, that's where people are learning. NXT's now at a level where it's like, it's better than AEW. I would say it's sometimes you get the Nikita Lions and shit on there still now and again, right? But now we're gonna see less of that because they have Evolve and all of this stuff. So if you're comparing just like the level of wrestling on Raw to a level of wrestling on Dynamite, I think it's WWE hands down. Now people go, oh, come on, but the athletic, the physicality, the right. So then again, you're just arguing, like, I think selling is called selling because it sells the tickets, and that's the objective here, right? I think pacing is important, psychology, storytelling, venue, all of these sorts of things go into a match, as well as the moves. And people are like, well, the moves, the storytelling's in the ring. Yeah, of course. That's one beat to the story, right? So I turn on John Wick. It isn't just I turn on Fast and the Furious. It's not just a race the whole movie. People make out, people fall in love, people feel betrayed, people get in gunfights. Sometimes there's got to be there's a CPR scene, there's a burglary scene, there's talking, there's crying, there's laughing. You need to have these things too, and then people go, well, what? Or here's the thing: if you want just the in-ring storytelling, go to your local indie and support it. It's that simple. I mean, it's really that simple. But anyways, Van Damme's like, do you think their goal is to not draw a bigger crowd? And this is the problem with AEW fans. Your objective does not align with Tony Khan's. He wants bigger ratings. That's why he talks about them. He wants bigger crowds. That's why he brags about the crowds. He wants to sell more pay-per-views. That's why Dave Meltzer doesn't shut up about them. He wants bigger TV deals. That's why he's going to Max. And you guys want that for them too. You're just sour grapes because it's not happening the way you want it to in your little babies. And I'm not a baby. I remain a fan while staying critical and shutting you bitches up because you make everyone just look bad. You're going to turn more people off of wrestling. In fact, though, I was saying that. I was like, man, they're going to turn people away from wrestling overall. But no, all wrestling, I was wrong. I was wrong, damn it, 2 years ago. Early on in the PWT days, I was saying they are going to turn people away from wrestling overall. No, they've just turned people off AEW. Wrestling's in such a boom period again. All of it, man. The indies, reality of wrestling, House of Glory's booming, Revolver's booming, TNA, MLW, OVW's booming. Everywhere's booming. Everywhere's feeling the effects, but AEW and Ring of Honor. Well, it's just because people hate them. They'll just hate Tony Khan. You mean the guy that everyone was behind more than ever, more than anything in the world? People were going to bat for Tony Khan when AEW started, and he lost the goodwill with mistakes and sicko fans like this just not being checked. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But yeah, Van Damme threw down with the sickos. And then, yeah, Neckbeards is responding here. I got I got two more of these. Then I'm checking in with chat, I promise, because then we got some like uber sicko action. Okay. And this is a long sicko segment. I apologize. Sicko Saturday night. Right. So let's see. This guy, here's a sicko who's like, this is going to be hard for a lot of marks to handle. The wrestling industry needs AEW, TNA, and WWE and NXT. These are critical companies that the entire industry needs, et cetera, David. Right. And then you go over and this guy's like, we don't need WWE. They need us in AEW to stay relevant, interesting, and borderline watchable for the simple wrestling fans without AEW. See, consistency. AEW's not consistent. The sickos aren't consistent. Nobody takes it serious. Neckbeards, who was in chat before. I saw you, bruv. How you doing, man? Says AEW sickos really do not understand the difference between revenue and profit. So again, look at this. This guy's like 168 million in revenue in 2024 to Neckbeards. Neckbeards is like, that's great. How much did they spend? Doesn't matter. That's 168 million in profit, dumbass. No, dude. 168 million. They for sure spent more than that last year, without question. There's no way in hell. But yeah, they just don't know, bro. They don't know, and they talk shit. And I feel like some of these people are like 13 and they're sicko parents Like, look at this shit. So this guy, like these two people just in a bubble of delusion. This guy's like, they're obviously talking about WWE. They are obviously copying the UFC model. Difference is big boxing MMA fights will attract the wealthy and celebrities that will want those high price tickets. WWE's attracting the wealthy and the celebrities. They're at every show. What are you talking about? It's crazy. Wrestling will not. Wrestling nerds are not millionaires. More of them are. Logan Paul's a wrestling nerd. I Show Speed's a wrestling nerd who's a millionaire, bro. This other guy we're going to cover in a bit, who's a big, huge YouTuber, is training wrestling in like the UK indie scene right now because they're wrestling nerds, bro. You're an idiot. And then this lady here is like, not to mention wrestling is simply not as mainstream as UFC. Now that's debatable. I mean, I don't know. I would say maybe UFC is real hot right now, but fewer matches, higher prices as someone, well, coming out of the whole pandemic, maybe it's starting to lull a bit right now, but there's a huge influx of fans in UFC. Anyways, she goes, fewer matches, higher prices. Yeah, UFC gouges too. These people are mental. UFC, when Dana White's like, we did 9 million gate, fourth record all time, he's like disappointed. When Tony does a 1 million gate, he's like, I know I'm paying Mox 1 million for tonight, but this is great. Fewer matches. Let me count to you guys how many matches are on. I think tonight there's a UFC. Fuck, hopefully I don't get any spoilers. It probably already started. Yeah, I'm going to try not to. So 2, 4, 6, 7... 2, 4, 6, 14 fights. So that's an AEW card. You're talking out of your ass. You just don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Product wise, there are so many better options than WWE. Then why is everybody paying for WWE? It's just cope. It's absolute cope. So I'm going to get into JD versus Joey round 2. So the bad boy Joey Janela, responds to JD again. And JD's like, I would make more money for Joey Janela than Joey Janela can make for me. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Oh! And then Janela's like, this guy is mentally doing fine. Quoting his favorite CM Punk promos like the mark he is. It's pretty crazy, though, because one thing, Joey was like going after his mental health and shit. Like mentally he's not, which is a crazy thing. Like that's very childish. And like if somebody deletes themselves or something, and you're like that, I'm sure you could find tweets of Joey Janela advocating for mental health. I'm sure of it, so it's kind of crazy to go after someone like that. I don't know, but these guys are at the point of like, they just want to fight. So anything Joey says to JD, you can't like blanket. I mean, that one thing I just pointed out there, that's kind of, hey, neckbeards, you want to start pulling cards? I mean, hey, there's a freebie. But all I'm saying is like, these two just want to fight. Like Joey wants this guy to fight him. So he's just going to say anything he can to get the worst reaction to hopefully meet up with him and fight. Okay. But anyways, so Joey's like, if you feel bad for him, it's just a ruse gaining sympathy for his grifting leprechaun ways. He is short. That is JD's very short. That is true. You'll donate maybe your entire paycheck just to hear him make fun of the name of the next Joshi wrestler AEW brings in. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Have a great weekend. Now, at some point, we covered it on the other show. I didn't rebookmark it, but some burner account goes at Joey, and Joey catches it and is like, this is JD or whatever, I think. Okay. So, we covered this before. Joey's like, 200 people wouldn't show up to see you in person. I disagree. I think JD could get 200 people easily. And then Joey's like, damn, Hog Wrestling, you have lots of special needs fans that come to your shows. You really want someone like this associated with you? That's funny, but snitch tagging. There's other people too who you'll notice on Twitter and shit. You'll be like, that Ricochet segment was cringe. And then they'll go under your shit and tag Ricochet, and not even in a snitch tag way. They'll do it like, yeah, at Ricochet, you idiot, you're done. It's like, whoa, guys, I'd tag him if I wanted him to see it, or like, I don't care if he sees it, but it's like, why you got to do all that? But anyways, so dude goes, I just wrestled Joe Hendry there a few months back, was a regular a while back, had a belt there. I would love to wrestle there more, but my schedule is busy. So then JD goes, he wrestled Joe Hendry and I made him look like $1 million. Oh, And that was pretty funny. So we covered on the other show, though, like Joey Janela's like, oh, it's burner. And I'm like, stooge it, or I don't believe you. That's what I was saying on the show. So Joey posted it, man. Joey Janela listens to PWT. Confirm. For real. Like, I don't know. I'm just joking, but he just hit everyone with it like a day later, right? Because this was like a week ago, about a week ago. What else? And then we tweak, and so we're tweaking over this, right? A week ago after the Saturday live show, Joey's like, I didn't want to carry this till Sunday, but I wanted everyone to see the gooner burner of JD. So it's this account. I don't know if it's like since been deleted, I have no idea, but he pulled his card there, I guess. Who knows? He could just be accusing a random account. But what Joey said, in case you didn't hear last week's show, I guess JD tweeted something out after someone tweeted the exact same thing. Like someone tweeted something out in response to Joey, then it was deleted, and then JD tweeted the exact same thing out. And Joey caught it. So he's like, yeah, that's how you catch someone's burner, right? So anyways, I don't know. But he didn't screen grab like proof of it, though, is the thing where he got. So I responded to this, and a bunch of people like this. This happened a while ago, and I'm sorry I didn't get to it. Sickos are so few and far between. I was like, I'm going to blast this asshole's face on my YouTube channel just because, I don't know, PDF files, we don't tolerate that shit. There's a lot of crazy videos these days, though, where people are just like meeting up with PDF files and just beating the shit out of them. Hey, I didn't see nothing. Hey, don't upload that shit to the internet. I didn't see a goddamn thing, right? Frankie Hendricks, pro wrestler, I'll give him a follow. Where they go, please read tonight this sick individual. And by the way, people were like, oh man, how do you know people aren't overreacting? Some people were saying that. No, dude, wrestlers was it Trayvon? It might have been like Matt Diesel, someone named Matt, a wrestler named Matt, and I'm conflating different Matts here, but one of them was like, yeah, we handled this swiftly. Like, no, this was really what this guy was doing, being a creep. Okay. So tonight, this sick individual is actively caught in the video taking pictures of my 4-month-old daughter while she was attending a wrestling show with my girlfriend and I. Please share and spread his face so he may not attend more shows and prey on children. Frankie Hendricks, I'm assuming is a dude. Sorry, I don't know. Our daughter's hardly gone outside in her 4 months of living, and this is the exact reason why. It's a shame that you can't even take children out in public without sick individuals like this preying on children. Do better. And then this comment is directed towards anybody who only feels the need to ask me why I took our 4-month-old to a wrestling show. That's nobody's business. You know what I mean? Was it all ages? Okay, then that's nobody's business why you brought your baby. You know what I mean? Those people, if people are questioning that. I'm allowed to want to have my family there after I was finished wrestling. So they even wrestled on the show? Imagine you're a wrestler on the show. You bring your kid to where it should be safe, and this filming your kid, dude. So look, they caught him on candid cameras, like flashes on. And he keeps like, sir, I don't know what he's doing, like around the ring that close too. I guess it's just a free for all. Dun, 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 dun. Where's my Smash Bros fans at? And I trust the parent's instinct. Like there's some loony people, but this is the loony guy, not the parent. Like, boom, caught with his flash on. Boom, because he didn't know his flash was on, so he's trying to do this thing where he's cringily like holding his phone to the side. Oh yeah, no, I'm just texting. Snap a pic of a kid, right? Flash was on. Whoops, up. Let me just look down, save that. Now I'm gonna look around, walk around. Is there another kid that I can quickly snap a pic of? Right? That's 100% what this freak was doing. So, I mean, he looks like if there was a movie made about someone doing this, right? He fits the bill. So, yeah, dude. So, our main event sicko of the evening, she was harassing at this London show, right? She was like harassing Punk and everything. And this popped me huge because I was like, holy shit, man. What are the odds of this? We see it like the other way in 2025, where we've had the instances recently of dudes like trying to cup, who was it? Like Monet's ass, or maybe it was Bailey. I can't remember. Or we've had these like crazy instances of, well, I don't know. This does happen a lot. Like, here's the thing, bro. Go back and look up videos of like Roman walking through the crowd and the ladies just like touching him, like reaching to touch him. Like it happens a lot, you know, it's part of it. But when you're talking about Punk and Cody Rhodes, two of the biggest stars, you know, this girl's and she's there with her dude and her kid, I think, too, which is what's pretty well, unless they're down like that. We don't know they're related, but if your kid's there, I mean, that maybe, I don't know, maybe that's not her dude and kid, but I don't know. That's just my assumption in all of this. There's footage though, right? And when you're talking about married people, don't be creepy. You know what I mean? Don't be creepy towards the men included, you know? And it does happen a lot of times. And a lot of times two married guys, you know? Like it's sometimes women, there's movies about it and shit you see, and it's not like an Adam Sandler movie or anything, but sometimes women see a dude's married and that makes them more like attracted to the dude for some reason. I don't know if it's any of that. Obviously, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk are like two of the biggest stars in the industry. Do you know what I'm saying? But for her to like take it this far, like imagine if a dude grabbed her this way or grabbed one of the female wrestlers this way. There'd be way more outrage than there was. Imagine the DMs she gets if sickos and simps are paying for her OF all day, right? Imagine the type of messages she gets. I bet she doesn't like that shit, but then or maybe she, I don't know. I'm not going to say, but she, you know what I mean? Because she treats other people like this and who knows what's going on. But when this came up, I popped. I was like, oh shit, a top sicko here. The footage comes out. This is her doing it to Punk. More footage of her doing it to Cody as well, which we'll get to. And let's just see this. And here's the thing. Again, these dudes are married. I get it. They're the biggest stars in the biz. And it's hard out here for a pimp, right? A CM pimp or the American pimp mirror, right? It's got to be hard out there. But, you know, I don't think he's even really into girls like that. I think he's into like kind of punk rocky kind of chicks, you know? But either way, let's look at how she just harasses Punk here. And we have different angles of it. And he's like, I'll punch you in the face. That's what he says to her. So like she's touching him. He still takes the picture, right? And he's like, what the look at that. She like grabbed his ass, dude. Look, so here's Cody Rhodes now. She pulls him back. Look, she grabs him. And he's like, oh, I'm trying to go to these kids, not your attention-seeking ass. Here we go. She pulls him in. And by the way, if that's not her dude and kid, because I did my researches, bro. She talks about her dude and kid all the time. So I just assumed that, but I don't know. I'm not like on the hunt. Is that her dude? And I don't give a, but if that is, that makes this even worse. And nobody's talking about that part. In my opinion, like showing your son like that, I don't know. That's fun. Like, look, he had to pull away and he's like, stop doing that. Did you guys see that? We have better angles too. Bill takes the picture and she's grabbing the back of his head and he's like, don't touch me, man. So what? So you can make up that he SA'd her or some shit? Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. That's crazy, man. This is super crazy that this happened. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, look. His arms around her. That's her man. Oh my God. Chat. See, this is why PWT's goated, because we just investigated this. We just figured this out live on the show. You know what I mean? Because I didn't notice that before. Right? And that's not him trying to like creep to cop a feel. It's not that. His arms around her, dude. That's her with her man and her kid doing this to them, bro. Bro. Oh my God. See, I didn't notice that part till now. Christ in heaven, man. I mean, great looking lady, but there's more. We have more angles and stuff. Pause. Yeah. Right. So let's see. Here's like Medusa had this to say, and this popped me. She's like, a thirst bucket bitch. A thirst bucket bitch. Oh my God. Cooked her, dude. A thirst bucket bitch trying to cause problems, can't read a room and don't know what signals are. Good for these men, respect, bad for her. Let's just say some of the men in pro wrestling in the past would have been writing their hotel room number on her tits. Yeah, so Ric Flair would be like, oh, the room. So a thirst bucket bitch, yeah, dude. The guys in the past. Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. Punk and Cody Rhodes, like if that was Flair back in the day, you know, she'd be on Space Mountain. You already know that shit. Yeah, here's the angle. So CM Punk tells OF model, I'll punch you in the face after telling her numerous times not to grab his ass. So here's the closer version. And see. So that's the dude with his kid filming his girl doing that? That's pretty nuts, man. Grabbing his ass. Could you imagine? A dude put his hand, he pretended to spank Mercedes or Bailey or whatever, and everyone melted down. Takes a Lundra Blaze to come up and be like, yeah, this is no one else and no outrage. Nobody's consistent enough. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our sicko segment. A very long one.